Here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show, like we are every Sunday at 10 o'clock, talking about all things real estate in Tampa Bay, keeping you updated on your home value, keeping you updated on what's going on in the Tampa Bay real estate market. If you want to know what's going on in your neighborhood, we've unveiled this really amazing tool on our website at duncanduo.com. It's a new technology partner of ours that is incorporating the automated valuations of basically all the different providers. So any of the websites you go to, it's kind of an all-in-one source where you can go and see all of that. So if you go to duncanduo.com, you just type in your address, it'll let you know everything going on in your neighborhood. So are there homes in foreclosure in your neighborhood? Are there, and again, the point of our platform is to share information and show you this information. A lot of the platforms out there don't share all of this. They won't show you if a home's in foreclosure in your neighborhood. They won't show you certain things about other homes, mostly because they want to try and capture you as a lead, not necessarily provide you value. So ours is all about providing value. So again, that's at duncanduo.com. Anytime that you want to get an update on what's going on in your neighborhood, your home value, just go to duncanduo.com. But I want to talk today about the real estate statistics for our Tampa Bay real estate market. And when I talk about these real estate statistics, I want to be clear because I did get some questions about this. My real estate team covers a really broad geographic area. We cover everything from Polk County up to Pasco, Hernando, all the way through Hillsborough, Pinellas, and then down to Sarasota and Manatee. The statistics that I'm using are from the Board of Realtors that covers Pinellas and Pinellas, Pasco, and then Hillsborough. The Sarasota Manatee market is somewhat unique. So when I'm talking about these real estate statistics, they don't necessarily apply to Sarasota Manatee, even though we cover those markets. So I'm going to talk about those statistics as well today, both the Sarasota Manatee as well as the greater Tampa Bay real estate stats. You have an idea of what's going on. And look, it's no secret that our market got hit with two considerable hurricanes that caused some dramatic impacts on our real estate market. And I want to talk about what has happened with our statistics. In December, the market had 4,322 sales. And if you look at that at face value, you would say, well, hey, look, that was better than last December at 3,800 sales. Does that mean we're improving? And in reality, it doesn't, because all that December did was catch up the lost sales from September, October, and November that we would have normally had we not had storms. And frankly, didn't quite catch up enough. So if you look at the last 4 months of 2024 and compare them to the last 4 months of 2023, in terms of total number of sales, 2023 crushed 2024. The only month that was better was December, and it wasn't better enough to make up for the losses in the prior 3 months that we saw from the hurricanes. So it is a good positive sign. It shows us that some of that demand is coming back a little bit. It shows us that some of those transactions, some of those flood damaged homes are getting through. Some of them are getting repaired. Some of them are getting sold. And so nonetheless, it does show signs of improvement. But the good mark in December doesn't offset the downside of the last few months. And 2024 was the lowest number of home sales in Tampa Bay in decades. And also 74% of real estate agents did not do a transaction in 2024. Let me repeat that. 74% of real estate agents did not do a single deal in 2024. That means if you have 4 realtor friends, 3 of them probably didn't sell a house last year. And it's why it's so important to choose wisely. If you've chosen an agent that's your friend or it's one of those 4 people and you didn't really vet them, and I don't mean vet them by them telling you that they sell a lot, because I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of people lie, okay? I'm talking about, did you vet it out? Did you look them up on the portals? Did you see how many homes they've sold? Did you look up their team? Did you find some sort of confident information that you're hiring somebody experienced? I mean, imagine going in for brain surgery or going into some massive lawsuit and hiring someone that didn't do a single brain surgery last year or that didn't have a single legal case last year. Like, imagine that. And that's what is happening. That is 74% of realtors out there didn't do a single transaction. The time has never been more important for you to pick the best and to go after somebody documented like our team that has a track record over 20 years, sold billions of dollars of real estate. We've sold thousands and thousands of homes, probably near 10,000 at this point, if I'm being honest. So the point is that there are a lot of mistakes happening in our market, and there are a lot of consumers getting bad information because they're going with inexperienced agents that got into the business when it was hot and didn't know what to do when it changed. Fortunately, we do. So let me continue on the statistics. And again, if that's you, if you hired the wrong agent, if you had bad results, if you hired somebody and didn't get it done, you might have got one of the 74%. Go to duncanduo.com. I promise you, we're not one of the 74%. In fact, only 2% of realtors did 11 to 20 deals last year, and far less than 1% did more than 30. And obviously that was us. So you want to be working with somebody that's one of those top 1% producers right now, because it's just much different. You need more marketing outreach. You need better negotiation skills to get homes sold in a challenging market like this. And let's face it, it's the most challenging market we've seen. And it was headed that way before the hurricane showed up. Okay, so it's a really challenging real estate market. You need to choose wisely. If you don't choose wisely, it's going to cost you money and your home's not going to sell, or you're going to give away some of your equity. So let me get back to the stats and tell you kind of what matters. So I mentioned that home sales were up in December year over year, and they were up over the last few months, which was kind of expected. December seasonally is usually a little bit better than prior months. However, the only December that this December was better than in the last decade, okay, was last year's. Okay, that's it. You go back to 2022, that December was better. You go back to 2021, that December was better. So our December being okay wasn't really that great of a come up, especially considering how bad the prior 3 months were. So let's talk about the average sale price in Tampa. Here's basically what we've seen in the last probably 2, almost 3 years in some neighborhoods. If you go back to June of 2022, we hit an average sale price of $484,000 in June of 2022. So this is 2.5 years ago. We hit an average sale price of $484,000. Since then, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up a little bit, it goes down a little bit. But today, our average sale price is $479,178. Last December, our average sale price was $497,000. Now, our $479,000 in December this year is up a little bit over the last 3 months. Again, same with home sales, but we are seeing depreciation. Okay, if you're looking to sell your home for what your home sold for, a year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's not worth that anymore. It's worth less, and it's headed in that direction. That trend is going to continue. No matter who is in the White House, and I think you probably all know who I voted for. No matter who's in the White House, real estate market is not going to move dramatically quickly, especially without any change in interest rates. And the Fed came out this week and said no change. And they predicted that likely the next Fed meeting, they'd have no change again. Without some dramatic move in interest rates, there just aren't enough consumers out there to eat up the supply. And there's going to be more and more distressed homes come on that are damaged by floods. So average sale price, $479,178, pretty much, over the last 2.5 years, we've had ups and downs, year over year, depreciation, year over year, depreciation. We're just not headed in a positive direction from that standpoint. The list to sale price ratio also tells a story, because the higher the list to sell price ratio, the closer we are to a seller's market, and the more the seller has advantage to maybe get a bidding war or sell their home quickly. If we go back to summer of 2021, we were hitting 100%. 100% was the average. Okay, we got up to 102 in spring of 22, and since then it has been on a decline from 102 down to today. For the first time in years, it has hit 96% list to sell price ratio. Again, what does that tell you? Buyer has the advantage. Buyer's getting a better deal. The market is shifting. It's softening. Okay. Another statistic: 72 days on market. That means 72 days for a home to sell. Now, some of that is because of the storms and it's taking longer. People have to make repairs. They have to make insurance happy. But again, the highest figure that we have seen in nearly, in like 6 years. Inventory, we're at 17,000 homes. That softened a little bit. So that extra demand picked up some of the inventory. So we haven't seen inventory rise as much, but also inventory got zapped by the number of homes that got damaged and flooded and then had to be repaired to be able to come back on the market. So the inventory number isn't really a telling sign of what's going on with the market. It's more a telling sign of how hard it is in 4 months for people to get the permitting done and get their homes repaired so they can get them on the market. Because guess what? If they can't get the permits and they can't get them repaired, they're not back on the market yet. So that inventory, those percentage of homes, and there was a big percentage of them are gone. So I don't look at the inventory or the month supply of inventory really that relevant right now because it's skewed. The data isn't really that accurate. So that's pretty much how the Tampa real estate market is looking. We did see a pickup in December. We're seeing depreciation. We're seeing homes sell for a lower percentage of the asking price. We're seeing homes take longer to sell. And while we have seen a little bit of improvement in month supply of inventory, it's really artificial because those are not homes that people chose not to sell. They're homes that basically had to come off the market because they were not sellable. They were damaged. They were flooded. They have insurance claims. They're going through permitting. And I could do a whole show about the horror stories I'm hearing in our counties about permitting right now. Man, it's pretty tragic. And it's sad because there are other parts of the country getting all this attention right now. Obviously, you had the Carolinas get hit really bad. We've had the wildfires in California that were pretty devastating. But there's still a lot of people here that are pretty devastated, and they've been waiting months for permits on simple things. I have one of my employees in my leadership, it took 3 months to get a garage door permit. Okay. So imagine how much of an impact that has on the real estate market because those are homes that can't come on the market. So, I'm going to continue talking about the Sarasota stats, and I'm going to compare them to what we see in Tampa so you can get an understanding of the differences and the variations, but also the seasonality of what we're seeing a little bit differently in Sarasota and Manatee than we've been seeing in Tampa. And we'll do that after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. I talked in the first segment about the best place to get your home value estimate and what's going on in your neighborhood at duncanduo.com. And we talked about the real estate statistics. And I want to talk next because, we talked about the Tampa real estate market. And now I want to pivot. And when I mean Tampa, Pinellas, Pasco. Now I want to pivot and talk about Sarasota. So Sarasota Manatee operates a little bit differently, but has some of the similarities of the Tampa real estate market. A little bit more seasonal, and definitely softer in spots, and a lot more fluctuations seasonally. Okay, so I want to talk about first. I want to talk about the average sale price in Sarasota. Look, in Tampa, our average sale price is $480,000. In Sarasota, Manatee, our average sale price is $745,000. Now, to put that into perspective, last December, it was $712,000. The December before that, it was $570,000. The December before that, it was $579,000. Okay, so we have seen a little bit of appreciation in Sarasota, Manatee compared to Tampa. Okay, now, however, while we are hovering around 745, just a few months ago, we were 641. So we're up quite a bit from there, but that is also seasonal. Sarasota Manatee doesn't do as well in the summer. It's a seasonal market that does better in snowbird months. So December is actually a really strong month, typically for Sarasota Manatee. And similarly, it also got hit. December this year looked better because September, October, and November were so bad and so many sales were lost from the storms and all the impact from that. So in Tampa right now, we're seeing a 96% list to sell price ratio. In Sarasota, it's 94. In Tampa, we see 72 days for a home to sell. In Sarasota, it's hovering around 90, which is also the highest number it's been in a long time. Go back to the summer of 2022, and it was 2 weeks for a home to sell. Now we're at 3 months, okay, 90 days. So that number has risen as well. It's taking longer for homes to sell. The market is tilting more in the buyer's favor. We have seen some appreciation, right, in Sarasota compared to Tampa, where it's the opposite of that. We're not seeing that at all on the average sale prices in Tampa. It has been pretty stagnant since 2022. If you go back to 2022 in Sarasota, we were around 640, 670, 650 to today, 745, 713, 747, 747 the last 4 months. So again, average in the 730s. And guess what? That's appreciation. So we have seen a market in Sarasota that is bucking Tampa's trend in terms of values are still improving a little bit. Now, where I will say that value is gravitated, and it's in both Tampa and Sarasota, is in single-family homes. Single-family homes are appreciating in Sarasota, Manatee. In Tampa Bay, some single-family home neighborhoods are seeing some appreciation. What ends up happening with these stats is we're blending all the different product types. So we're blending single-family homes and condo townhomes. And condos right now are depreciating pretty considerably, frankly. So the devaluation of condos and some increase in single-family homes is blending some of those numbers a little bit. So again, that's why we tell you to go to duncanduo.com to know exactly what's going on in your community, in your neighborhood, in your building. So you can have the exact specifics, even if they don't exactly translate with these statistics. Other things in the Sarasota Manatee market, we're hovering around 6.5 months of inventory. It's been around 7 or 8, but like I mentioned with the Tampa stats, it came down a little bit, but that's mostly because a lot of homes got taken off the market because of the storms. So that's relatively artificial. I expect that number to rise back up a little bit. But again, Sarasota from summer of 2022, 101%, 100% list to sell price ratio, today 94. So we've seen more, even though Sarasota is appreciating, we've seen more value increase despite the fact that Sarasota is having more ability for the buyer to negotiate. We're still appreciating in Sarasota real estate. Now, again, we're seeing fewer sales for sure. 1,116 sales this year, 1,139 last December, 1,113 the December before that, 1,688 the December before that. And this year we had 2 months, in Sarasota Manatee where we had above 1,500 sales. That is, or at least in 2024, we had 2 months. In 2023, we had 3. 2022, we had 5 or 6. So again, we're seeing fewer sales in Sarasota Manatee as well. So hopefully that helps you understand the stats. But if you really want to know the stats, again, duncanduo.com, get your home value estimate, know what's going on in your neighborhood, in your building, get a cash offer. If you're looking for a cash offer, I want to talk to you about that after the break. We've got an incredible opportunity for people that look to sell cash, that just don't want to deal with the traditional listing process. We've partnered with a large investment group that wants to buy a lot of real estate here, even post-storm, and even including some flooded opportunities. So I'm going to talk about that after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. I'm Andrew Duncan, the Duncan Duo team at LPT Realty, here every Sunday, dropping the knowledge for you about what's going on in Tampa Bay. Talked about the Tampa Bay and the Sarasota real estate statistics. I want to move on next and talk about some cash offer opportunities. If you have a flooded home that is waterfront, okay? And by waterfront, I don't mean lake. I mean navigable with a boat, a canal, intercoastal waterway, the ocean, the beach. We develop a relationship with a buyer that has unlimited funds that wants to buy a lot of those opportunities. So if you are looking to sell your waterfront home, maybe it's damaged, maybe it's distressed, we have buyers for that right now that want to buy damaged homes on the water, some of which they may tear down, some of which they may renovate. It all depends, but they want to acquire a substantial amount. So you can go to duncanduo.com, fill out the form when we identify that it's waterfront, or you can call or text us at 813-359-8990. Again, that's 813-359-8990. Call or text. Get a member of our team on the phone and let them know that you've got a waterfront property that was damaged and you wish to sell it, and we'd love the opportunity to help you. And we have another fund that's buying not waterfront, but turnkey move-in ready houses at 90+% of retail value, which is unheard of. So if you're someone that just doesn't want to deal with the traditional sale process of selling real estate, we've got some options for you, and you can, again, do that at duncanduo.com. Again, that's duncanduo.com. You just you just fill out the form, request your value, and it's a pretty smooth process for you to get a cash offer. With the waterfront homes, it's a little bit different. There's a little bit more due diligence that's needed versus the turnkey homes in the suburbs and that are newer that somebody can value kind of on a desktop opportunity. The more complicated the property is, the harder it is to value for some of the funds. But nonetheless, whether it's waterfront or turnkey, we have customers that are ready to buy those. You have the opportunity to maybe even save on some commission, save some fees and costs, and get the convenience that you want at duncanduo.com. When we aren't on air, make sure that you're following us on all of our socials at the Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, pretty much all of them. You can find us at the Duncan Duo anytime you want. I want to give a couple of quick credit tips to people. And this is something I've dealt with some of the team members I have recently. And I want to make you guys aware that if you are thinking about buying a home, maybe you own a home and you're going to sell it and then you're going to buy another, but you need a mortgage. Maybe you think you know what's going on with your credit, but you haven't looked in a while. Please make sure you're checking out your credit. A lot of apps out there. There's freecreditreport.com. There's so many places you can get a free credit score and get a free report. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing sometimes people have medical bills on there that they can dispute because they're not accurate or they're not theirs. If you have a common name, that's something that you can sometimes dispute, that maybe it got attached to the wrong credit profile. Secondly, you can negotiate debts. And again, work with your lender, because how this is reported sometimes, there's pros and cons. But a lot of times if you owe debts to credit card providers or to anyone, you have the ability to negotiate, especially if it's been a while, because they realize at that point it's probably a sunk cost and they're not getting any money, or you're going to file bankruptcy, or they may never get paid, so they may take pennies on the dollar. So if you can pull up your credit report, and you have a few options. You can dispute things that aren't accurate, including medical bills. Okay, they're not supposed to really hit you the same anymore. They still do sometimes. You can dispute with a credit card. You can try a workout. You can try to pay it for less than what you owe and see if you can negotiate. There are all kinds of things you can do to improve your credit score. Also, sometimes you have one credit card and you're maxing it every month. Okay, go get maybe a couple of more so your credit utilization is better. If you have more lines of credit open and you prove over time that you can make that payment, then it's going to show better for you. It's going to make things look better to any creditors that are out there thinking that you have the ability to pay. Another thing you can do is a significant other, a family member can add you as an authorized user on their credit card that they're responsible for paying, and that can help pull up your score, because now you're getting attached to their credit profile and their payment history. You're using that card, but and maybe you are paying it with that person, but it's pulling your score up by kind of utilizing their good credit score. So this is something a lot of parents do with kids and college-aged kids. They'll add them as an authorized user. They'll put a spend limit on it, or maybe even not even tell them that they're added as an authorized user. That's something that I did. Hopefully my kid's not listening. But on some of my cards, my kid is an authorized user, but does not even know and doesn't have a card. But it pulls her credit score up so that when she does go to buy a home, it's going to have more trade lines for her. So again, additional lines of credit are certainly acceptable. All of those things are things you can do. You can negotiate shorter payoffs. You can dispute things. But more than anything, it's knowing. It's knowing and talking to a lender. If you're really going to buy in the next year, pull your credit now and figure out what's going on now. Because, man, I have to tell you, one of the worst things as a real estate agent that we have to deal with is somebody saying, oh, yeah, Andrew, I've got a 750 score. I got all the money. I can buy the house. I'll qualify, no problem. Okay. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's arrogance and overconfidence because it's incorrect and inaccurate. I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with the person that blows all kinds of smoke about, how much they got and how good their credit is. And then when push comes to shove, they get to the lender. Oh, whoops, they forgot about that payment. They missed one. Or, oh, whoops, they have some sort of collection from years ago that's popped up. Or, oh, whoops, they're self-employed and they needed to do some different things with their taxes and able to be able to show enough income to qualify. So I promise you, if you don't have experience in mortgages recently, okay, because it changes all the time. If you don't have experience in mortgages recently, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not an expert because you read something on Twitter or X or whatever it is now. You're not an expert. Talk to an expert. Get an expert's opinion. Get their advice about what they can tell you to do to improve your credit. Again, paying your bills on time, catching any past due up, keeping your credit utilization low, meaning that if you have high utilization, more lines of credit can reduce the amount that you're using in terms of total available credit, diversifying credit types. And you also don't want to go crazy with new credit applications, okay? So too many inquiries can lower your score. It's certainly okay to inquire and shop rates and do different things. If you're not great at making payments and set up automatic ones, pay balances in full when possible. And then limit closing accounts too. A lot of people I sometimes hear people that are big fans of Dave Ramsey say, oh, cut your credit card up. Well, maybe cut it up, but don't necessarily close it. If you don't have the discipline to pay the bill, yeah, maybe don't use it, but don't close it, because closing it then goes against you. It reduces your available credit. And then if you do keep a card or you cancel them all, then you might not have any credit. And that's another problem that unfortunately can happen to some consumers. So hopefully this credit advice is helpful for you, for anyone out there struggling, anyone out there thinking about the next steps, thinking about buying a home in the next year. Those are all things that that can be helpful. I mentioned that the Fed leaves interest rates unchanged for this most recent period, meaning that mortgage rates really aren't going to change too much. A little up here, a little down there, depending on what's happening in the market. Some different numbers come out, a little bit of improvement or a little bit of decline, a little bit of incline. It's not changing. It's maintaining inflation over the long term. It's keeping its federal funds rate target at 4.25 to 4.5 to promote maximum employment. It is not changing them presently. So there are a lot of people hoping for lower mortgage rates. It's just not coming, and it's probably not coming this year in terms of any drastic change. I have people ask all the time, hey, when are we going to see 3% mortgage rates again? Probably not unless you go back in time. I don't know that we'll see that again in our lifetime. Can we get into 4s and 5s? Maybe. But 3% was just so artificially low because of COVID and because of, having to kind of fuel the economy and improve some things. I don't know that we'll see that again. Do I think there is some reprieve coming this year? Yeah, maybe later in the year, maybe a little bit more next year. But we're not headed towards 3% interest rates anytime soon. So if you're thinking about waiting until it gets there, you're probably going to wait a long time, and it's probably going to cost you. So again, you're listening to the Duncan Duo Show, and we aren't on air at the Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, DuncanDuo.com for a cash offer on your property, including waterfront, boat access, canal, intercoastal, ocean, not lake. We have a fund, a group of, not really a fund. This is not a hedge fund. These are local people. Okay. These are people we know that are buying up a lot of real estate, and they want to buy a lot of waterfront real estate in Tampa Bay. So if you have waterfront real estate in Tampa Bay, they are looking for opportunities, and you can do that again. DuncanDuo.com. Again, that's DuncanDuo.com. And if you have a turnkey house, we have a completely different group of investors that are wanting to buy turnkey homes for up to 90% of market value. And I want you guys to understand this. These are enormous institutional companies, some of them, or they have access to data that you probably don't have access to. It's not what they're not going to give you 90% of what you want for your house. They're going to give you 90% of what it's worth. Okay. They're going to do the research. They're going to pop in some data. They're going to take some pictures. They're going to look at your house. They're going to assess the value of your home. Okay. There are a massive number of sellers out there presently that think their home is worth more than it is because they think theirs is the best. So this is not, you're not going to call, say, I want 500 to give me 450. No, we'll give you 90%, in the 90% range of what it's worth. Okay. Not what you want for it. Because most sellers want numbers right now that are just in fantasy land. They're just not realistic. So if you're realistic and you're willing to sell for 90% of current market value, we've got a cash buyer that'll close quick, that'll help you get to your next step. And again, hit that up at duncanduo.com. We'll be back wrapping up our last segment after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan with the Duncan Duo team at LPT Realty. And hey, I just want you to go on to your Chat GPT or your Grok, whatever AI service you use. If you use one, if you don't, you should figure it out and learn it. It's pretty impressive. And ask that chat bot who the best real estate team in Tampa Bay over the last 20 years has been, or who the highest selling real estate team over the last 20 years in Tampa Bay has been. And it will give you the right answer, and it's to call us, duncanduo.com. I've traveled the country and kind of seen firsthand, redevelopments of downtown areas. And what's undergoing in Tampa right now is pretty impressive because we're starting to see some Miami, Hollywood-esque things. And look, there are some people that don't love it. There are some people that do. If you're somebody that wants that kind of luxury lifestyle, kind of the live in a hotel type opportunity where, you have a concierge for everything, there are so many great buildings downtown that if you're thinking about buying one of them, we know the options for you and we would love to help you. Again, you can call us at 813-359-8990. Again, it's 813-359-8990. We'd love to share the pros and cons with you of all the downtown luxury inventory in the Channel District and Water Street. But there's one building in particular I want to talk about today just because I think it is unique, and it's Aura. And Aura is, it's been talked about. It's going up for sale. It's got kind of a Miami Beach, South Beach kind of feel to it. Even the colors, the design, everything is super, got a Miami feel to it. At 1101 East Jackson Street, it's going to have rooftop affinity pool, hot tubs, DJ booth. The cool part is it may end up with an STK steakhouse, which I love. I love going to STK in the different cities I visit. But one of the neatest things about the Aura property, because we get this all the time from people, they want to buy something and rent it out Airbnb. Okay. Now, so if you want to rent out something Airbnb, all right, call us. We can help you. Okay. We would love to show you how to do that with some of the downtown opportunities, but Aura is one of those few options. Most of the municipalities in Tampa Bay and a lot of the HOA communities have made it really, really challenging to do Airbnb. Like, for example, if you wanted to buy real estate here and have a stake in our real estate market, and you're only going to spend a few weeks a year, a month a year, maybe even 2 months a year, it's challenging. We do get people wanting to do that, and it's hard to find something that doesn't go against the local municipality regulations and rules and laws, and or the HOA. Well, Aura has 627 of their suites that will be sold as investment properties and rented out and operated like traditional hotel rooms. Those units range from $656,700 to $1.25 million. So those suites, you will have an opportunity to go stay in when you wish. Okay. You own it. I'm sure there's probably fees associated and there's cuts and there's different things you got to pay them when they rent it out, just like if you did Airbnb. But that opportunity is available at Aura. A really cool downtown building. Residents have their own separate lobby, private elevator, and private terraces. They'll also be given membership into a members-only club, Aura, that is launching, that offers VIP access to private events. So if you are interested in Aura, please reach out to us, 813-359-8990. Hit up DuncanDuo.com if you're someone that's wanting to Airbnb a cool property. Now, this one, again, it's in the Channelside District. It doesn't, look, if you're high enough, it has a water view, right? But it's not like right on the water, but it's downtown, and downtown Tampa is surrounded by water. So, it's not like going to be directly like right on the water. Other things it's going to have available too, again, success of Water Street District is going to pull it up. There's no question about that. My team had some responsibility in some of the land acquisition that is surrounded by Aura. And there are other plans in Channel District. However, this one, plans are out. They've got designs out. It is headed in that direction, and we would love the opportunity to represent you if you're thinking about doing an Airbnb or if you're thinking about residing in one full time. Like we mentioned, prices ranging between 1.6 and 3.5, depending on the level of the private residence you want. But the 31 private residences are targeted at luxury buyers who want to experience luxury living in a hotel with full amenities and a concierge full time. And then, of course, the other units are really more operated like traditional hotel rooms. So great opportunity, really cool concepts coming to downtown Tampa. Downtown Tampa is taking it up another level, and it's exciting times if you see, what's happened around Water Street and the arena and all that is brought to Tampa Bay, and that is likely going to continue. The only downside is probably more population coming and more traffic, but nonetheless, a lot of cool things happening in Tampa. Again, make sure to check out DuncanDuo.com if you're thinking about selling your home, if you want a cash offer, if you have a waterfront home that was flooded. Again, DuncanDuo.com. Get your cash offer at DuncanDuo.com, as well as get your home value estimate to know everything that is happening in the Tampa Bay real estate market in your neighborhood at DuncanDuo.com. I'll be back next week continuing this conversation. Have an awesome rest of your weekend, Tampa Bay.